Oilers Now with Bob Stauffer. Weekdays at noon on Oilers Radio, 630 CHED.
630 CHED and the Edmonton Oilers Hockey Club present the show that is everything Oilers. Oilers Now with Bob Stauffer.
Brought to you by Digitex. Service for all brands of print equipment in your office?
Yeah, Digitex does that.
digitex.ca.
On Oilers Radio, 630 CHED.
106 in Edmonton. Bob Stauffer and Brendan Escott with you on Oilers Now. The second hour of Oilers Now is brought to you by Digitex. Digitex.ca is Alberta's number one owned and operated place to buy office technology and software. We will head off to the River Cree Resort Casino hotline momentarily. It's going to be a few minutes. Kevin Lowe's just tied up in a meeting right now. We will tell you that Ron McLean is also going to be joining us from NHL Hockey and Rogers during the course of the second hour of the show. We may have one more guest as well that we're working on negotiating at this time. Keep texting us. We will tell you that Kevin Lowe's appearance today, in lieu of Kevin Weeks, is brought to you by Canadian Power Pack, Alberta's leader in electrical construction and prefabrication and solar. That's Canadian Power Pack. This text comes in. Bob, I'm not impressed with how much time on the Ashley Fine Floors text line. Ashley Fine Floors providing winning results for over 35 years. I'm not impressed with how much time is not given during the news to those that are very happy about opening up. Whether it's this channel or any other mainstream media, very biased news reporting. That's what the text says. Well, we tried to present a fairly, at least on the show, a fairly positive perspective. Talk about vaccination rates in Canada, north of 60% fully vaxxed right now in the country. That's all ages, which is part of the reason why, large portions of the country, including this province, is opened up. I will tell you, it was the last couple days in Red Deer, in central Alberta for the Battle of Alberta Golf Tournament. It was really interesting to see people sort of inside of other people's personal space after we've all been socially distancing and, guys backslapping and stuff like that after, having a good time. And I think that there's something to be said for human contact, and we've maybe lost some of that. And I do think there's a segment of the population that liked the way things were when we were locked down. Which is not to say that they didn't want to feel protected or be careful or be safe. But I do think there is a segment of the population that rather enjoyed it. I also think there's a lot of people that were incredibly frustrated by it. So, you can text us at any time, 780-496-0063. Here we go. This text comes in saying, Bob, generally in life, the people that are very happy about things don't feel the need to cry about it, whereas the people that are obsessive love to be the squeaky wheels, and some of them actually make a career out of it. Well, you can always just follow the money. That's what I say. I mean, it's interesting in terms of who puts out which. There's an incident going on right now in the state of Georgia right now, where a lot of Republican supporters are concerned because Donald Trump had tabbed Herschel Walker, the former football star. Of course, Herschel Walker signed with the New Jersey Generals when Trump owned that team in the USFL. He sort of, tabbed Herschel Walker as a great viable option for Republicans in Georgia. And there's been a lot of pushback on that front. So there's politics and everything. We even had to try to avoid the conversation last night down in Red Deer. I personally don't think that, for the record, I know there's some people suggesting that the 630 CHED News Department is deep left or far left. I personally do not believe that. I think it's fairly centrist, but what do I know? Again, you can text us at any time at 780-496-0063. Again, 35 years ago when I went to school, the loudest voices were often on the right. Okay? And today, some of the louder voices, I think Jason from San Good has done it again. Today we've got loud voices on both sides. There's no question about that. Jason from San Gudo says, Bob, I don't care for, if you don't care for human contact much, get married. From Jason in San Gudo. Wow. Brendan, how are we doing? Did we have a malfunction at the junction, or are we still... Kevin's about 5 minutes away, I'm told. Is that right? Maybe 5 to 8 minutes away?
Yeah, thereabouts.
Okay. Again, Ron McLean is kind enough to join us at about 1:35 today. Mark says, Bob, just regarding Darnell Nurse, the people that want the Oilers to win but don't want to pay the skilled players really blows my mind from Mark. We had people that were vehemently opposed to the 8-year extension that Leon Draisaitl got in the summer of 2017. Oh, the Oilers, Peter Chiarelli. Like, you can criticize Pete Chiarelli for a lot of things during his tenure as general manager. The contracts for Connor McDavid and Leon Draisaitl turned out to be pretty good. They did. And Darnell Nurse is going to get paid because every year that you're buying with Darnell Nurse in his next deal is a free agency year. So he's going to be compensated. He bet on himself. He got bridged twice, and I could foresee a scenario where both Bouchard and Broberg down the road get bridged as well. Again, you can text us at 780-496-0063. This text comes in. Harry says, Bob, what do you think about trying to trade Koskinen in Arizona with the report that Kessel wants to trade out of there, have them retain salary on Kessel, and then try Connell, Avalov, or Skinner? I think he would seal a deal on a truly effective top 3 lines and maybe outscore any defensive goaltending liabilities. Love to hear your opinion on this from Harry. I would be nervous about, you got to have a goaltender replacement for Koskinen if you're going to trade him. At this stage, it's my own personal opinion. It's what do I? And in terms of Skinner, decent prospect. I've never seen Konovalov play. There is a lot of bets being made, and I know that there's statistical analytics that are done that, you know, here's what KHL numbers would translate into North American numbers. We went down a bit this path with Koskinen. You know, he put up terrific numbers over in the KHL, albeit on an awesome team in the KHL. So, again, you can text us at 780-496-0063. Guys are asking me lots of different questions on lots of different topics, of which some, frankly, I don't have all the answers for. Wow. They're out now, Brendan. We got them going, don't we?
To be honest, I can't open the text line, so... You
can't open the text line? Oh, they're coming in fast and furious, let me tell you. I, like every Oilers fan, are rooting for the guy, but unless he's a Norris candidate this year, he isn't worth a contract starting with 9. How many times does Kevin Weeks refer to the fact that Darnell Nurse should have been up for the Norris Trophy? Like, it is an interesting thing with Darnell, and it makes me wonder sometimes. Like, the guy was tied for the NHL lead in even strength goals and was 4th in even strength points for defensemen in the entire league. And all everybody says is, yeah, that's because, but he plays with Connor McDavid. That's all they say. Yeah, but he plays with Connor McDavid. You know, Connor McDavid would be the first to tell you that Darnell Nurse is a pretty good player. And I'm the first to tell you that when you watch practice, you can see who is continuously improving as a player. So take it for what it's worth. I do find it interesting just in terms of Darnell. Like, again, if it were me, I'd sign him to an 8-year deal. I'd get that done. Mark in St. Albert says, Bob, as you know, early in Nurse's career, I was a major critic of his skill level. Seriously, though, he is now a beast. But $9 million a year seems like a big overpay for Mark in St. Albert. That's kind of the going rate for those guys, though, especially guys where there's no restricted aspect anymore to their future negotiations. Like, there's no restricted years. They're all UFA years. It's going to cost you if they're going to sign them. And I would think if I'm the Oilers, I would sign him to as long a term as I could. So, for what it's worth. Bob, Nurse only played against 6 NHL teams last year. Let's see how he does against all the competition. Well, I'm here to tell you if he'd played against the Pacific last year, or whatever they called the West, he would have put up even better numbers, because there were some teams that were hurting for certain in that division. Keep her coming. Keep bringing it to us. We're going to take a quick timeout. It's 1:15 at Edmonton, and you're listening to Oilers Now.
This episode is sponsored by BetterHelp. Is there something in your life that's preventing you from achieving your goals? BetterHelp is here for you. You can sign up and start communicating in less than 48 hours, and it's more affordable than traditional offline counseling. Financial aid is even available. You can find the particular expertise you need online. You don't need to limit yourself to only local counselors. Everything you share is confidential, and there are licensed professional counselors that specialize in things like depression, stress, anxiety, relationships, and so much more that will ensure you get the help you need. Start living a happier life today. As a listener, you'll get 10% off your first month by visiting our sponsor at betterhelp.com/hockey. Join over 1 million people who have taken charge of their mental health. Again, that's BetterHelp, HELP.com/hockey.
Hi, this is Zach Cassian from your Edmonton Oilers, and you're listening to Oilers Now with Bob Stauffer on 630 CHED.
Welcome back, everybody. 117 in Edmonton. Bob Stauffer in the 630 CHED studios after spending the last couple days with an awesome event, the Battle of Alberta, out in Red Deer. And tonight, it's the toast of the town in Edmonton, and our next two guests will be tied to it very closely. Kevin Lowe is to be toasted, and Ron McLean is in town to host the event. Doesn't get much better than that. We are pleased to be joined on the line by a longtime NHL player, an executive with the Oilers organization, the vice chair. We welcome back to the show, Kevin Lowe. Hello, Kevin. How are you?
I'm doing great, Bob. Thanks.
Yeah, absolutely. You looking forward to tonight?
Well, I'm not sure what to expect. They say it's a toast, but I believe it's going to turn into a roast. And so I saw Glenn Sather this morning for coffee, and I said, I hope you have a few good things to say about me. And, of course, I'm sure Brian Burke will come with a shopping list of things to talk about. So it'll be interesting, but really looking forward to it. It's for a great cause. Of course, the Cure Cancer Foundation, all in support of the Cross Cancer Institute, and I couldn't be more excited.
Yeah, it's going to be a good time. I know that Glenn Anderson and Craig Simpson, Tim Hunter will be amongst some of the other people that will be on the stage besides Glenn Sather, and of course Brian Burke. I think we're all looking forward to that. We had Burkey on yesterday on the show. We did a little bit of a panel last night. You teased the people that were in Red Deer that are going to be. There's a few of them coming to the event tonight, so that's a good thing. Is it a little bit surreal, Kevin, when you sit there and think you're gonna go into the Hockey Hall of Fame here? At times, you sort of look back, and I know you had a great chance to catch up with a bunch of your teammates and the former Flames players as well, the Flames alumni as well. Can you enjoy it a little bit more now, maybe, than when you were in the guts of the game and dealing with pains in the asses like guys like myself that would be calling you at all hours trying to grind you for information?
Yeah, no question. It's a little more relaxing, a little more enjoyable, I suppose. More time to reflect. I guess that happens as you get older as well. But the further you get away from the game, you don't see people that often that you either played with or play against. It's been so long since the Battle of Alberta for me personally that. Now guys like Tim Hunter and Rick Natras and Jamie McCown and Colin Patterson, et cetera, are, they're friends, right? And we would never even we hated each other back then. So these are wonderful moments, and you cherish them that much more. I suppose the older you get.
Yeah, Kevin, there hasn't been a lot of face-to-face contact with people. And I had not done a public event since March of 2020, so 16 months. In fact, I just got back in the 630 CHED studios here about a month ago. It was great because Kathy could have her boyfriend over again to the house while I was at work. With all seriousness, how much fun was it just having people coming up to you down in Red Deer at the event the last couple days, and sharing a conversation and sharing a laugh, and of course it was for a great cause down there for the Central Alberta Child Advocacy Center. It's a wonderful cause, and Terry Lowen and Mark and the gang down there did an awesome job with that. But just seeing people again, Kevin, you know what I mean?
Yeah, it's amazing. You realize, I'm a social person anyhow, so I enjoy those environments. We all did what we had to do during COVID to not only protect ourselves, but try to get the world back on track. So I guess a little bit of a leap of faith. I'm been double vaxxed for some time and feel comfortable. But even walking around Edmonton, we still see people wearing masks and really not sure what the future holds. But in terms of getting together with people, that was such a wonderful event in Red Deer. Amazing people. I know a bunch of people from Edmonton, drove down as well. They made a bunch of money for a fantastic cause. Sheldon Kennedy, his battle for awareness about abuse period and the child advocacy center there that they're trying to build. We have something comparable here, I guess, in Edmonton, the Zebra Society, and everyone's just got to keep battling. The event tonight is obviously to try to the term that the NHL uses is hockey's biggest fight is to try to help in combating cancer. But events like that, I think people are willing to stick their necks out a bit and their wallets for great causes.
All right. We got to have a little bit of fun. And one of the guys you spoke about last night, I was unaware that Kevin McClellan was back in Alberta. I didn't realize that. But you talked a bit about Kevin McClellan. We had a bunch of texts. I brought it up with Louis DeBrusque earlier on the show today. You had nothing but the utmost respect for Kevin's abilities and how tough he was pound for pound.
Yeah, and he was a really good hockey player, too. He was a smart hockey player, good hockey sense. Certainly probably his best attribute was his toughness, and I really honestly believe that pound for pound, he was the toughest guy that I ever saw or played with. Kevin was maybe 190 pounds at his heaviest, and, he was fighting guys that were 220, 230. But the thing is, he had the hockey sense was about knowing when people on the opposition were taking advantage of anybody, Mess or Gretz or Koff or, me for that matter. I mean, the first guy in line was Kevin. I said this last night, you win championships because you got great players and good goaltending and good coach, but you also win championships because you got, high-end players like him that could do that job. And, again, as I'll reiterate it, he just wasn't a tough guy. He was a smart player. He could kill a penalty. He could take a face-off in the late part of the game. Him and Patty Hughes and Dave Hunter had, one of the best fourth lines in hockey. So it's important, as we get older, the people remember less. They remember the Oilers' great years. They'll always never forget Gretz and Mess and Koff and the Hall of Famers. But it's guys like that, really, that deserve to be recognized for the Oilers winning 4 cups in 5 years.
I remember, I'm trying to think of the year. It might have been 84-85 season. It was in Edmonton, and you guys, it was at the end of the period against Montreal. And he got into it with Chris Nyland. And he pumped. Like, Chris Nyland was a really smart technical fighter. And Kevin McClellan just tossed him around for fun. And he pumped him. Like, it was pretty, because Chris Nyland was a legitimate top 10 tough guy in the league. And, the Sutter fights, that came with the territory. I think that Brian Sutter, I saw him last night, he still looks like he could fight if he had to. But,
yeah.
But, it was a good time. Well, it's going to be fun tonight. Brian Burke saved his best material. And Kevin, just so you know, I purposely put a mistake in, and you haven't forgotten. So that's good. You corrected me on you're on something last night that I was like, well, I want to. Yeah. And it was 08 that the infamous interview took place in another show at another time. But I'm looking for. I can't wait to see Ron, and I know Craig Simpson's going to say a few words. A lot of the alumni guys are. I think it's going to be a great event, and you need support from the corporate community. And we should mention Prism, the Valve guys, Terry O'Flynn, who's a great friend of yours, Like a couple other guys, thinks he could probably be the general manager of the hockey team, but these events don't happen without people like Terry as well.
No, Terry O'Flynn, he steps up. He's been a long-time supporter of the Oilers. His company, they, wonderful people, just good people to be around, but they certainly step up when needed. So we're really thankful for them, and we've had great support overall. I understand it's a sold-out event, and real credit to Barry Stafford, Oilers' longtime equipment manager. Barry has done wonderful things since he retired, working with the alumni for a lot of years, and now he's full on focused on trying to raise money for cancer research at the Cross. Of course, Barry's a cancer survivor himself, and Barry is, as Glenn Sather said today, Barry is persistent. And he delivers a good message, so it's really hard to turn him down. So it's going to be a success. They want to make it an annual event. They had the first one a couple years ago. This is the second year, and I'm sure they're looking already for next year's person with the bullseye on their chest for the toast of the town here in Edmonton.
It's going to be a fun time. And Barry's a former Alberta Golden Bear. You know what they say, Kevin? Never go wrong with those U of A guys.
Yeah, you say that often, Stoff. I know that, but I can't disagree. I had lots of good times at the U of A, skating in the summer. Of course, Billy Moores and the former Claire Drake, and it just goes on and on the hockey side. We're fortunate to have the U of A here in Edmonton, and a lot of great people have really, from the U of A, have really helped out the Oilers over the years.
Awesome stuff. I'm looking forward to it tonight, and from my end, trust me, less will be more.
Okay.
All right. Thanks for taking time.
My pleasure. Yeah, thank you.
That's Vice Chair of the Oilers Entertainment Group, Kevin Lowe. It's 1:28 in Edmonton. Ron McLean will join us at around 1:32, 1:33 from NHL Hockey and Rogers and Sportsnet and Hockey Night in Canada. Off to a global news weather traffic update with Eileen Bell.
Oilers Now with Bob Stauffer. Weekdays at noon on Oilers Radio, 630 CHED.